a little bit switched up. I do want to touch on the rumored handheld that Sony's supposed to be coming out with. Um, so apparently, the Portal was just kind of to see if people had a taste for a handheld coming out from Sony, but um, they said, "Okay, we'll give you something that you really want." So we'll touch on that. We might have enough time to get to it, but maybe not. So, just bear with us on this. Um, this is a new setup. Worked all week on it, so it's going to be a little bit of everywhere. And then, lastly, we're going to talk about Xbox again. It's not been a good week for Xbox. We're going to talk about how their console sales are on the decline, and this kind of coincides with uh, what we've been hearing about their exclusives and them slowly getting themselves out of the console wars. So I'm wondering if this is a good move by them or if something absolutely catastrophic, right? So we're gonna get to all of that. But here to help me out, we've got very sharp, thoughtful commentary coming from Gamer Geek, and we have PandaVac. He's here for the laws and the fun. Got him right here.
Hey, how are you?
And Lord Beerus, thank you, sir. It we worked a long time on this. We got up early, tried to get the get everything ironed out, and it's nerve wracking for everybody. I'll tell you, another one from Lord Beerus. The Resident Evil Queen is back. Yes, yes, she is.
Somebody's trying to make me blush on camera today.
Yeah, yeah. He's going in, man.
hmm
It's good to have you though, Lord Beerus. But as far as the exclusives going to, we'll get into the article that talks about it in a second here. So we'll read through and then give our commentary. But first thoughts, what are we thinking about it? How do we feel about it?
Well, from my perspective, I think it's Xbox is getting outsold by
Yep.
PlayStation. They always have been. I think that you know. So take like Hogsmeade,
Hmm.
the little exclusive that they had for Hogwarts Legacy on
Hmm.
PlayStation, and now it's going over to other consoles.
Yeah.
I think it's great because not everybody can afford multiple consoles.
Right.
Um, with the fact that Xbox is selling less, if they were to release some of their consoles even a couple months later,
Mhm.
it could help them recoup some of that revenue.
Yeah.
Um, PlayStation can't compete with Game Pass, period. Um,
That's true.
and so, like, if they were to open that up on PlayStation, like the rumors say,
Hmm.
it would make a killing.
Yeah.
It really would.
I think what's helping them as well is everybody has a PC, right?
hmm
So
Yeah.
now that PlayStation's actually going cross exclusive between PlayStation and PC, I think that's helping PlayStation in the long run. Nobody wants, like you said, multiple consoles and a
Hmm.
PC. Either they have one console and a PC or just a PC. So I'm
Hmm.
wondering if Xbox being Microsoft, if you have the PC for Microsoft, you're going to get
Hmm.
a Sony PlayStation, correct? Right? You're not going to get a PC for Microsoft and then Xbox for Microsoft.
Hmm.
You could get the Game Pass on PC, so that might also be a decline on the console right there. Is you can have your Xbox games on PC no matter
That's right.
what you do, and the Stream Deck does it too, right? You can get some sort of the Game Pass through some of those games through it. So I don't
Hmm.
think it's a decline of a console. I just think PC and Sony are making the right move where it's a cross exclusive through them two. There's no
Yeah.
deal, but uh, most of the games made on PlayStation are already on PC. They're made through a PC and then
Hmm.
ported to PS4, PS5. So
Hmm.
I think it's just that people rather just have a PC and just one console, and that console
Yeah.
being PlayStation with the exclusivity of some of those games that are out there.
Hmm. And I do believe that as far as they have their exclusives, the ones that really drew people to their console. Don't get me wrong, that's awesome, but I don't think they've ever had a hit like, they're Naughty Dogs, The Last of Us, God of War. They've never had a hit like that. And on top of Game Pass, a report came out, and we were talking about this offline, but their Game Pass is cannibalizing their physical sales. Walmart stopped selling their physical games because they just aren't selling that well, and that's because of Game Pass. So this kind of further kind of feeds into the rumor that, well, it's not really a rumor. I think they actually um, flat out said that they aren't going to compete with PlayStation, and PlayStation is primarily a console deal. So um, they're going to get out of the console market. I think this is their first big step into it, and we're gonna got to keep in mind that Phil Spencer, these are all just rumors until Phil Spencer comes out and flat out says, hey, this is what's going on. We're getting out of the console market. It costs way too much to make these consoles, especially with Game Pass doing so well. And we just got this humongous Rolodex of titles. We don't really need a console. You get Game Pass, you have access to our games, Activision, Blizzard. You should be set. You're good.
Speaking on that,
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
rumors going on, like Halo coming to Sony or Gears of War coming to Sony,
That's
would
right, yeah.
they'll have their own exclusive Game Pass, or would it be a digital version of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's gonna be Game Pass all the way.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it'll stay digital.
yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
would it be the service through Game Pass and not
hmm
you buy it digitally? Because it would make sense, right? That would be the only way Xbox would come out of their hole, right? Is if they let go of the exclusivity of Game Pass and go, full circle PlayStation Game Pass with PC and Xbox. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking they were going to do, was bring Game Pass to PlayStation, bring Game Pass to. I mean, you can't really
Oh
play
man.
anything on a Mac, but
Yeah, that's crazy.
but
That would be.
I do
Oh my
think that
gosh.
that would be a good idea as far as money goes.
Yeah.
They
Oh yeah.
the original Xbox they made nothing on,
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
Bill Gates was actually like in the hole a bunch on that one, and they
Yeah.
didn't start making money until 360.
Yeah.
The 360s where they really got their traction, got their brand loyalty and everything
Yeah.
like that.
hmm
I understand how some fans are really mad, and they're like, well, why should I even buy an Xbox if I can just wait for PlayStation?
Yeah.
Well, everybody has their hardware preferences.
That's right. Yeah.
Everybody can choose whatever they want. I don't think that if you're an Xboxer, you should jump ship just because of a rumor, or
hmm
not play the console that you want or that you like or that you're most comfortable on. And unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of people talk about doing that right now, which is
Oh yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think that as far as Microsoft goes, they've got Game Pass is like, they have such a huge potential to bring
Yeah.
that to PlayStation. If they brought it to there, I bet you, I know I would cancel my PlayStation Plus, and just go back to the bottom tier and just use Game Pass, because, we've got Game Pass on my son's Xbox.
Oh, right on.
that,
Yeah.
that would be the downfall too with PlayStation Plus, right? They would have to either merge with Game Plus or Game Pass, or completely just let it dominate. Because, of course,
Yeah.
that's their streaming way to, have their monthly fee for online. But who knows? With PlayStation going where it's going, they might even just let it go and just go full on Game Pass Plus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Wouldn't that
kind
be
of what I was
cool?
thinking they would do.
That'd be so cool. Let's get into the article real quick, and then we will get back to the commentary, and then look at some comments. All right. Well, let me do this real quick. There we go. Now we're professional. All right. Exclusive. Microsoft plans Starfield launch for PlayStation 5. For many weeks now, rumors have persisted regarding Microsoft's intentions to release a number of first-party games, namely Hi-Fi Rush. And I remember people weren't too upset about Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, because one is a really old game and one's not even like super exclusive. But according to our sources, who have asked to remain anonymous because they are not authorized to talk about company plans. That list of games also includes Bethesda Game Studios, Starfield, and we can add Gears of War to that too. Starfield release, we don't need to go through that. Now it looks as though Microsoft are planning on bringing Bethesda's newest RPG universe to an entirely new platform. According to sources, we understand that currently Microsoft are planning a launch of Starfield on PlayStation 5 post the release of the already announced Shattered Space expansion for Xbox and PC, which is on target to arrive at some point later this year. We've also been informed that Microsoft have made additional investment into PlayStation 5 dev kits to support ongoing development efforts, adding further fuel to the fire. That's so crazy. As the already existing rumors have suggested, the idea of bringing first-party titles to competing console platforms marks a massive change in strategy for Microsoft. And from what I understand, it's not been without fierce internal debate on this new direction. Releasing Starfield on PlayStation 5 contradicts the original statement around exclusivity made by President of Xbox Sarah Bond during the Xbox in Bethesda Game Studios Summer Showcase of 2021. And here's a quote from her. Share with you, for the very first time, one of the most anticipated games in the world from Todd Howard and the team at Bethesda Game Studios. A groundbreaking game, and yes, it's exclusive. According to sources, Microsoft senior leadership have reportedly debated the various pros and cons of releasing more of their exclusive software elsewhere, and internally, not everyone is necessarily happy with the decision, but recouping the potential money left on the table by releasing elsewhere has arguably won out. According to sources, Hi-Fi Rush's release on rival platforms is tentatively planned for Q1 this year. So really soon, and we've been advised to expect Microsoft to make a more public announcement, i.e. Phil Spencer, he put it on whatchamacallit? Twitter.
Well, X.
That's right. I still call it Twitter.
I do too. I don't know why he changed it.
Me neither.
Next week's topic.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, he owns it. He paid a pretty penny for it. So, whatever. It is what it is. But with all that being said, I don't think it came out of the blue. It's like we kind of knew they were going to get out of the console market. We just didn't know when they were taking those steps. And I think now that their consoles are on the decline, as far as sales, their physical games are on the decline because of Game Pass. This doesn't seem like an out of the blue move to me. You know what I mean?
Correct. They've also they haven't signed that deal with AMD yet to get the processors for their next gen console.
Oh shoot!
That would be a problem too, especially when you're trying to push for a next console and you don't have your parts, right?
That's right. And they were supposed to be having a mid-generation refresh console, and that one was supposedly going to be all digital, and all those files that came out whenever they were battling the FTC over here. But yeah. So I mean, we did. Where does that put their refresh console at? What are they going to do as far as the games going forward? It's just it's really cool to ponder on, until Phil Spencer comes out next Thursday. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just gonna say, you got to remember that, like with Activision Blizzard, they were multi-platform.
Yeah,
it's always been that way.
That's right. Yeah.
So as far as that goes, it's not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
One of the biggest games that I've seen a lot of people kind of, getting crazy about is the new Hellblade 2.
Yeah.
Which it started off on all of the platforms, and
That's
then Microsoft bought Ninja Theory, and now it's supposed to be an exclusive. Well, I mean, I could see it being exclusive for X amount of months, make PlayStation wait, or release it right away, because the fans, we're still all recovering from the Rona, so we're all still poor. Everything we've got is going to those $70 video games.
That's right.
And that's the thing.
And this kind of
you gotta hold off on what you really want to get. And
exactly.
This last year, games weren't really top notch. You know what I mean? Most of the games were coming out weren't the best of what they were announcing or showing. So it's hard to tell what you really want to put your money towards, right? So it's like a hit or miss now with video games, especially. I mean, one big example, Call of Duty 2 and Call of Duty 3, where everybody was saying that could have just been a DLC instead of spending $120 for both games in under a year, because it wasn't even a year after they launched that Call of Duty 2.
Oh yeah.
And they came
I have
out.
to agree with that.
So like, it's understandable that, you know, some of these companies are waiting for these big announcements, but they're also afraid to announce it because you don't know what's going to happen. You know, one wrong move will down that whole division, right? I mean, another example was The Day After, right? That was the game that came out maybe a couple months ago, where they were talking about it was going to be like the best post-apocalyptic zombie game. And then within the next day, the company shut down because it was a bad game.
Yeah.
So it's like people are that afraid right now to do anything because that can happen. It's
I
like,
forgot about that. That was so
Me
crazy.
too.
Well, that's the thing, it was so quick that people forgot about that already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was within a week, people forgot about that company. They're like, hey, what about that game that was supposed to come out? Like, oh yeah, that company closed down. Like, all because
they're
of
trying
this game.
they're trying to reestablish another company. They're trying to. I saw one report on it, and I haven't seen anything else on it.
I feel bad though, because you know, I get it. You know, you're trying to push this nice game, but it doesn't come out the way you hyped it up for a year or two, and it comes out bad service, bad, you know, this and that, and then the next day, not even, you know, 24 hours of this game coming out, company shuts down, servers go down. People were asking for millions of dollars back. You know, it's like crazy. So, like, I get it. I get that, you know, same with like the console worlds. It's like, should they keep continuing on console versus console, or should they kind of lay back and just, you know, focus on themselves? Another big thing is how we were talking about how Xbox hasn't came up with another console for their, you know, their series now. I've always thought it's because they always came out, you know, when Xbox was released, they came out with so many versions of it, right? The X, the S, the standalone, the digital, and all these, you know, resources that they were using to branch out to make all these consoles for one version of it. I think kind of reduce their resources, right? Because now, if you think about it, now they can't get the AMD cards because all these AMD cards went for their old consoles that they were trying to sell, you know, for people that wanted them, right? The new consoles came out during the pandemic. Xbox had the upper hand because they came out with 4 different consoles that people could afford.
And they were cheaper,
and they had them in stock, like with PlayStation. Because I'll tell you, I was mad having to wait for over a year and spend that much money.
Right, and that's the
console.
That's the crazy part is they had a good idea on releasing multiple consoles for different prices, but I think they overexceeded their resources doing that. It was a good run for a good 2 years, but now that it's catching up to them, it's kind of like, maybe we shouldn't have done that right away.
Like you spent too much money trying to get these things done, and now you're paying for it.
Yeah, because now Sony just released the Slim, right? Or the smaller version of their PlayStation. And that's their first time doing their new console. And then eventually they're already announcing the Pro when Xbox announced their version of their Pro during the pandemic. So it's like... ooh, like maybe jumping the gun was good, but for 2 years, I get why you're kind of getting out of the console war now, because you got to try to catch up on your resources, your money that you spent.
Well, Sony's had this strategy in place since they came out with the second one. You know, they just did a regular 1 and 2. Then they did different versions starting with the 3. And they know what works. You know, they're doing the standard original, they're doing their slims, and then they're releasing pros. I think that they're doing it smart.
Yeah, it's their whole quality over quantity, right? I think we've talked about it before. Is Sony has all these nice exclusives that take a while to make. You know, they're polished, they're good. My biggest thing for their exclusivities is they have the photo mode. I don't know if you guys have ever tried photo mode on any of their PlayStation exclusives, but
I actually love it.
Oh my goodness, like most of their exclusives have it, right? So if you can go into detail on a game like that because you guys have that time to do it, that just makes your game better, right? You're
Yeah.
putting your fine detail on these games that you know are going to be loved, are going to be played. I mean, the biggest reason why people want a PlayStation, I want to say, is because of Spider-Man. Spider-Man's only
Yes.
on Sony, and now it's on PC, but still, it was always on PlayStation first.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Because Sony owns Spider-Man, so
That's
the
right.
The Marvel and DC, or the Marvel and Disney.
It worked out
right?
for them.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, they also have a really great hit with The Last of Us and Uncharted, and even Horizon. Horizon Zero Dawn came out and blew everybody away.
Yeah, it did.
Their sequel, Forbidden West, has blown everybody away.
Yes.
I've used photo mode on PlayStation for a lot of games, and I'm like, you can see every little hair on this person's arm. You can see their pores. I mean, it's insane, and I can record just right there from my PlayStation.
Yes.
My son's like, I need a card. I can only record 30 seconds. And I was like, well, you can borrow my video card if I'm in the room. This is all my streaming stuff.
All right.
That's the crazy part too. It's like being a Japanese version game, you got Ghost of Tsushima that was made by,
oh my gosh,
what was it? Sucker Punch, which is northern, Native American or North American company that is loved around the world. You got them that, I believe they made Infamous, right? They made all the Infamous games, so it's like you got these companies that are putting all this detail into these games that make it worth it, right? It makes your $60 spent worth it.
And that's what I was gonna say. It was like the allure of PlayStation started way back. Like obviously they continue to make hits, but if you like Jack and Daxter, if you liked Ratchet and Clank. Yes.
Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah. Was that a PlayStation exclusive?
It was. Until I think the second generation, when Xbox started coming out, they started releasing it towards cross-platform.
Right on. And then they had Spyro, Crash Bandicoot.
They did.
Yeah. They had all of these good games before Xbox even jumped into the fray. So they had brand loyalty already before, and they kind of started smelling themselves with the PlayStation 3. After PlayStation 2, they were like, we got this, we can take anyone. But I'm just saying, like, the hype for PlayStation, it started with the PlayStation 1. They came in and just tore up everything. I think they even kicked Sega out of the console market after that.
Yeah, because I think Sega was going towards disc, right? And they were the only competition that Sony had, and they still ended up getting them out of there, because even though Sega had the leg up for disc, Sony came in and just wiped them out. I mean, I don't know if you guys have gone into like the commercials that Sony used to do with Crash Bandicoot going into the Nintendo parking lot and just making fun of them. Like, they knew they had something big and they knew they could roll with it, and that just made it better.
Right.
Well, another little tidbit that makes those commercials even better is that originally the PlayStation was what they were designing with Nintendo.
Yes.
That's right. Yes.
And so
dual cartridge CD, I think.
Yes. And so they were doing it so they could compete with Sega, and then I don't know what happened. They had some sort of beef, and Sony was like, "I'll just do this myself."
Exactly. All right.
Hold my beer.
They killed it after that. But on that, we're gonna get into some comments really quick. We have this one from Lord Beerus again. Allegations, LOL. Thanks for letting me. Hold on, wait. I gotta move this over a little bit. I'm sorry, Lord Beerus. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, that was a long one, but it's the allegations, LOL. Thanks for letting me be here to cause chaos.
That's a good one.
We're glad to have you.
Yes, you're always welcome. We got another one from Lord Beerus. She's right though. Then we've got another one. Yeah. Fox, Geek, and Panda sounds almost like a Batman terrible trio. Fox, Vulture, and Shark. Hey, I like that. And then he says, Fox speaking the truth. True story. That looks like Tom from Adult Swim Toonami.
Do you like the mustache?
Yes. And then he says, it's Twitter. And I don't remember what that was in reference to.
Because we were talking about how we still call it Twitter,
Oh,
even though they call it X.
yeah, right on.
I
And
think
then
I started finally calling it Twitter X. Like,
oh, I say Twitter/X. That's how I do. We got one from John DBZ. Sorry, John. This one says, ask the team what do they think about Rockstar thinking about putting a very high price on the new GTA, and the reason was because of hard work and time invested. They want the money for it. That is a really great question.
It makes sense that they do want that much money, but it's a multi-billion-dollar game that they're making,
That's right.
right? So
Yes.
I don't even think they should stress about.
In my opinion, you have for the last decade
Mhm.
raked in money over
Yes.
GTA 5. You are making hand over fist. My
Yep.
kid actually came in this morning and was talking about, I want to do this membership and it's this much a month and all that for GTA 5. They are not losing money with all the time and effort that they're putting into GTA 6. They do not need
Yep.
to charge $100 for a standard version.
Yeah, let's see
That's
how
right.
much they've made. $8 billion since 2013.
Exactly. Like it's been like the last 3 consoles or 2
Yeah,
consoles.
I remember playing GTA 5 on my PS3.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So
that's hilarious.
I get that you want to bring it up 70, 80
Yep.
bucks for all the hard work, but
Mhm.
bro, you're gonna milk this game for 10, 20 years. Come on, this game is still
Yes.
Yeah. I can see them doing a $70, maybe 75, and throw in like this car or something, you know what I mean? Give it,
Yeah.
know, I understand that they've been working on it for a long time and they put in a lot of effort and everything,
Yeah.
but it,
I know I bought a collector's edition for the PS3 for 200 bucks. So
yeah.
you gotta think about
Goodness.
it. People will buy a good
That's
game.
and that was going to be my point. Is like, no matter what kind of price tag they put on this, people are going to buy it.
Mhm.
In GTA 6, talk about a rapport with customers. They have it down to a T.
Yeah.
They give customers what they want to do. So no matter what that price tag is going to be, people are going to pay it. And they might even make $1 billion off this game.
And plus
This
they've
one
got their
game.
microtransactions to go
That
along with
too.
it, so
Goodness
they're gonna make
gracious.
bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
I want to say in 24 hours when GTA 5 came out, they made 800 million.
Mhm.
Oh
They
my
will make
God.
$1 billion in 24 hours for GTA 6.
They sure
Oh my
will,
gosh.
especially like GTA. When they did San Andreas, I was working at a store and like I retail. Like I wanted to quit.
Mhm.
Between that and everybody trying to get PlayStations and 360s, I was like, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I don't like how they're upping the prices on all this stuff. I don't like it. I wish they would stop. But, it's kind of like, a lot of trash games that'll come out and people will still pre-order, even though they've been burned time and time again. Just like with that, people will pay these prices. So if for us who want to see prices for games go down, it won't, just because the vast majority of people will buy this game. So it's unfortunate, but I mean, I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. But as of right now, let's expect GTA 6 to make $3 billion in the first 24 hours.
For
Right
real.
on.
It's definitely going to be the best-selling game of
Yeah.
the year
Oh,
when it
it's-
gets released.
It's gonna win Game of the Year. It's gonna be the best-selling game for, I guess it's coming out next year, 2025.
2025, we still don't know
Yeah.
the date.
Right
But
on, right on.
I want to say Grand Theft Auto is known to come out during like mid-October, September.
Okay.
I want to say.
Okay.
Find out.
Right on. There you go. We have our resident. While you're doing that, we got some more comments here. No, it wasn't about Panda. It was that article you pulled up. The pic on screen
okay.
looked like Tom from Adult Swim Toonami. Right on. John DBZ is going to be a very high price, more than 100. I
believe
can
it.
anticipate that. Yep. Oh
I
yeah.
heard rumor it was going to be 120 for the standard.
Oh shoot. Yeah, that's. I'll wait till it gets to a bargain bin. It probably will be or more with gaming inflation. Gaming inflation is a little bit different than regular inflation.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say I just bought
There's no
Helldivers for
reason.
$40. I hope.
You, that's the gaming industry doing right by the customers. But there's no
Mhm.
reason. I don't think there's any reason a game should be $70. It's
Yeah.
that's just me.
It better
I
be
mean,
Um.
lined with
with
gold.
GTA, yeah, with GTA 6, I mean, I guess I could do 120 if I save up for
Mhm.
my kid to get it
Right.
because he's going to be playing it for
Mm.
at least a minimum
Yeah.
of 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
You
say
know,
Yeah.
I think
so
they would add their streaming though, because they have GTA Plus now, right? That whole
yes,
monthly
Oh
service.
shoot.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty
yeah,
Yeah.
sure
that's what
you.
my son was wanting.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah,
Good stuff. All right. I didn't know they had that. I know Ubisoft has theirs, and
Oh
then
man, all these companies are coming out with one. September
yeah.
17th is when GTA came out.
Okay. Holy crap.
So they were. I want to say it would probably come out close to Christmas.
Okay. Right on. This is the last one we have from Lord Beers. I understand that companies need to make a profit. That's they don't want to be in the red, but there's a difference between profit and bleeding people dry in the wallets. That's pure greed, and that's 100% true.
very
What they're
much.
gonna run into is economics. They're gonna run into that hardcore
Hmm.
because once you pass that threshold of people that are willing to buy it at that price, nobody's gonna buy that game then. So, I mean, economics will win out um, eventually. I think it, if they decide to make their games $100, you'll see a flat line
Yeah.
with all these companies
Yeah,
and a lot more people being laid off, which I don't want to see. It's the suits, not the devs. But if that happens, then I'll wash my hands of it. It's like you kind of did this to yourself. Not Sony. Well, Sony, because a lot of those guys are doing the same thing. Xbox and all that. Let's get into our next article. We're gonna be talking about hold on, wait. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is the one I was supposed to do at the beginning. I wanted to show the Knuckles premiere, which I think it looks really good.
I can't wait.
Me neither. I when it was first spoke about when they were talking about releasing the show, I really wanted to see Sonic Adventure 1 where Knuckles took the lead role and defeated Chaos. That's what I wanted to see. But
Yeah,
this looks campy, this looks fun and funny, so I'll probably still watch it, but
Well, it
that
looks
that
like
was
it's gonna
what I
be a
wanted to see.
standalone series, right?
Hmm.
yeah, they've got 6 episodes on it so far,
Hmm.
and I'm really interested, especially with when they brought him in on Sonic 2. It
Yeah.
was amazing. I mean, my kid went wild. He was
Yeah.
like, "That's my favorite character," and this and that.
Knuckles is good.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
I
like
like
that
them.
they're sticking to the story. Let's just
yeah,
start with that, right? That
Hmm.
they didn't go all overhyped, make
yeah,
their
Yeah.
own story. It's the
Mhm.
linear story of Sonic, right?
So like my
yes,
thing with Sonic is I vaguely paid attention when I was a kid, but they don't really have like an extensive lore about them. So they did have a little bit of liberties they could take, you know what I mean? Like I don't think they really got into like a real linear story until Sonic Adventure 1,
Yep.
where they, introduced I think Shadow was in the second one. No? Yeah, no, Chaos was the first one. But
yeah,
that's when they got really deep into the lore. But yeah, no, they're really fun movies. They're fun. And I love seeing the way that they design Sonic. And
yeah.
then
The first design was something.
yeah, that was
I just can't even.
yeah, that one was it's like take it back to the drawing board, guys.
For
That's we
real,
need
like,
you guys to do that.
yeah, that was bad. But the movies are fabulous. I mean, even my older
Mm.
kids in their 20s would come over and be like, "Hey, it just came out. Let's watch it." And we were actually talking about Knuckles the other day, and I was like, "I can't wait for that to come out because it's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
a big compliment to the movies."
Yes. Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
my gosh. So the one that I don't even have the video queued up. So we're just gonna move on to Silent Hill. The rumors about Silent Hill porting over the Silent Hill series. Um, so how do we feel about that? And I know that you, gamer, you were super happy about that. Um,
Yeah.
and I expressed that you know, don't get me wrong, old games are freaking awesome, going back and
Mhm.
playing them. But I would love to see them get the Resident Evil treatment. And I know
Where
they're
they get
coming
the
out with the remake
remakes.
for two, yeah.
Yeah.
But let's get all of them that way.
Yeah, I really
Hmm.
love the remakes. I love what Resident Evil 2 has done.
Hmm.
Um, yes, there were some things that they changed that really kind of made like Resident Evil 3. They took a lot out and they didn't
Hmm.
quite hit the bar of what us gamers were expecting. But I
Right.
still loved it.
Yeah.
It's you've got to do something to change them, so I get
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Um, I would love to see Silent Hill
Mm.
ported just because I never got to play all of the originals.
Right on. Yeah.
I was in the military and doing a whole bunch, so
Yeah.
I didn't get that opportunity. It would be really cool, but I also still have my PlayStation 3, so I can run out and pick them
Awesome.
up if I want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and there's other people that are really mad that they're like, well, not for what I just spent to get these on PS3. They better not port them to new gen. And I'm like, I get it. They're doing Silent Hill 2 remakes, so maybe we'll get one
Yeah.
and three.
I mean,
So
to go off of that, Sony's actually is one of the biggest uh, supporters of it. So
mhm.
I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if they do like what they did with the Lara Croft series, right? Where
Yeah.
Yes, where they just remastered them all.
yep,
Yeah.
it's not even like a remake. It's just better graphics. It's still the
Mhm.
same
Hmm.
game and the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
type,
Yeah.
but
I
I
would like to see that for Silent Hill. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah, that would be good.
it's cool that Silent Hill 2 is getting the whole remake, but
Hmm.
I think eventually we'll probably get the Silent 2 original remastered.
Yeah. Like exactly what you were saying there, Panda. Freaking the Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3. They cleaned it up a little bit and they just put it out. I think people gamers would love that. They don't need anything to, be boosted into PlayStation 5, even though I would
Mhm.
love to see that. But I am excited for Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3.
That's
Those
yeah.
I'm excited for those.
That was the thing
Yeah.
a lot of people just didn't like though, is they were taking the old games and just polishing them up. But that was the whole point, right? You're getting
Hmm.
this new console that can do that. It's like
Yeah.
someone now these days gamers are, in their 30, 40, 50s and they
Hmm.
played these games, right? They
Yeah.
want to play these games again.
Yeah.
It's like what we were talking about not too long ago, how I've been looking for this game that's now on eBay for $60, $70.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, man, it's just one game. I really want to just play it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
All
I
right.
think that's great that they're starting to do remasters and bring back like the original classic games that really made a name for
Yes.
Sony.
Yeah.
And I would really love to see it, but I also want to see a remake like completely just done in the new style like they did for Resident Evil. It would be awesome to have both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It would be
that's-
awesome to
that's
have
the-
both.
that's
Yes.
the whole
I love
point
that.
of putting your money where your resources are at, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
Sony
Mm-hmm.
knows that these games were good back in the day, and these games will still be good now because these people still remember them. And
Yeah.
it's like me and my kids, I played Resident Evil when I was little, and now
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh man, this game looks cool," and it's like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
was about
Right.
your age when I found out about it."
And I mean it's true because us that came up during this whole gaming revolution, we're
Yeah.
passing it on to our kids,
That's
and we
right.
want to
Yeah.
be able to share that stuff with our kids. So
Mhm.
I think that's really good that they're starting to do the remasters of the original, but also still doing remakes.
I think
Right.
the best part of
Mhm.
doing that is quoting a game or a scene line by line, and your kid's like, "This game just came out. How do you know all these words?" It's like, "Oh man, you won't believe it if I told you, but I used to play this when I was little."
Mhm.
Back in the old
The
olden
days where they
Yes.
make me sound like I'm old and I didn't
I
have
know.
I know when we didn't own shoes and we walked to school and home
Exactly.
uphill both ways in the snow.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the snow with
Uphill both
Yeah.
ways.
5
That's
feet of
hilarious.
snow and rain while the
Yep,
Jaguars were chasing me.
I know. And horses were running by and splashing water on us. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we got some more comments, and then we'll get into the article real quick.
Okay.
This one's coming from Lord Beers. They will learn a hard lesson at who needs the other person more. This is very true. They are in we're starting to learn it better. There's been a bunch of boycotts that actually, woke companies up. So they're we vote with our wallets, and they will listen. That is for sure. That is for sure. We've got another one from DBZ, John DBZ. For example, we have a small time game that was out a year ago and it released 3 DLC for free. Say thank you to the fans. I love games that do that. Nowadays, you don't really see that. This is very true. I know God of War just released Valhalla, and that was a free DLC.
Yeah,
but
it was
you
a
don't
thank
really-
you and a Christmas present. It was awesome.
That's right. Yes, I do appreciate when companies do that.
Yes.
John DBZ, if the fan base goes well, then it gets better if you help everyone.
Mhm.
Yeah. We got another one from Lord Beers. It says, in my opinion, remakes are a hit and miss. Some things good and some things not as good. But I do like they add new content in the remake. So if it's not an exact mirror clone, and it makes it more interesting to play. That's true.
He has a good
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's true about that one. Grand Theft Auto remake did not do so well because they just wanted the money for it. I remember.
Yeah.
that. They said that remake was a port from a mobile game when it came out. And
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
it wasn't as well polished as it should have been. So when it came out, people noticed like it still had mobile controls on it, and it's like, what's going on here? I don't know
That's
if you guys ever get time, go into that rabbit hole of the Grand Theft Auto 3 San Andreas and Vice City remake debacle that they had where it
Oh,
was just
yeah, I
bad.
remember that. It's like, and when modders got a hold of it, they made it look so much better.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they got shut down super quick.
Actually, I want to say it was them, but they
Mhm.
paid a modding company to polish it up and re-release it.
Ouch.
And I was like, damn, they really. I mean, Take Two is known for suing modders, and they ended up hiring
Yeah.
a set of modders to fix up and polish the game. I'm like,
Mm.
That's funny.
I would be so ashamed of myself if that
Yes.
was me.
All right, last one from Lord Beers. Otherwise, it's like, why play it if it's exactly replica of the original, except for the graphics updates? Make it different, like a movie adaptation of a TV series, anime, cartoons, video games. I can get behind that. With some things, like, okay, for example, the new Ninja Turtles that came out, I refuse to watch that just because the story of the Turtles is outlandish. But it's like, dude, I can't wrap my head around them, freaking learning ninjutsu from a book. It's like,
Yeah.
the way I see it is like, you read the book, it's like, oh, and you try to go get some real world kind of application to it, and you get your butt handed to you.
hey, I'm telling you, man, Fortnite is getting pretty accurate with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Just saying.
They look so good.
I
They
showed
look
you that
so good.
Shredder DLC, or the thing that they showed.
Oh my god,
he looks good
Yeah.
in Fortnite.
It
so good.
they did a good job with it in Fortnite. So
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I see that with the remakes. Like you want to be able to add something new or change
Mhm.
something,
Mhm.
but then there's always going to be somebody that's not satisfied.
That's true.
You
Yeah,
know,
Mhm.
there was that discussion during the Video Game Awards. Should Resident Evil 4 remake have even been nominated as Game of the Year? Because is it
Yeah.
really a new game? Well, yes, because it was based on the original. Yes, it did have a lot of stuff in it, but it also took a lot of stuff away.
Yeah.
Even the separate ways DLC is different.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
Right on.
another example too was Dead Space. They
Yes.
remastered it, and they
Yes.
still put a little bit of extra in it that made it
Yeah.
even better. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what people were afraid of, is taking this amazing game and remastering it and not messing it up again. Their whole mindset was
Yeah.
like, don't do the Grand Theft Auto, and that's why they kind of waited a bit. But me playing
Yeah.
Dead Space, it was almost the same, but they polished it up. They gave it a little more missions in it that didn't have it in the original, which tied the story even better. And then
Yeah.
just the gameplay was amazing. They kept the same gameplay, they just polished it up way better.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
which
I
is
heard the
great.
mechanics were freaking a lot better. Sorry.
Mhm. No, you're good. I just
All
think
right,
it's great when they do that. They add the little extra to help round out the story and make more sense. It's awesome.
right on. Let's get into the article. Sorry, goodness gracious, I just get so into the discussion part. But let's get to the article real quick. All right, and this one's coming courtesy of Game Rant, uh, by Raul Lataverde. Original Silent Hill trilogy could be making a comeback. And as far as I can tell, I've read a couple of articles on this subject, and it does seem to only be a rumor at this point. But I want to say, oh, PlayStation's January 31st State of Play event featured the long rumored reveal of Silent Hill, the uh,
Yes.
short message, which was not well received. no one, no one liked it, as far as I can tell. In a Silent Hill, the short message interview uploaded to the official Silent Hill YouTube channel, Hexadrive level design director Rika Miyatani reveals that Konami reached out to the studio to potentially port the series to current gen platforms. Everyone at Hexadrive, including Miyatani herself, were heavily involved in the discussion about these ports as big Silent Hill fans. According to Miyatani, these discussions eventually led to the team deciding that a remake would be ideal. Miyatani and other development staff began to prepare a production quality mock-up demo that could be shown to Konami as a proof of concept for the Silent Hill 2 remake. Plans did not work out for this particular remake, but Konami reached back out for development of Silent Hill: The Short Message while Bloober Team worked on Silent Hill 2. So it looks like uh, while on the call to discuss you know the short message and things like that, they went into, well, why don't we just port over the old games, which I think, if they did, because Konami really needs a hit. They have they it's with because did you ever play Metal Gear Solid? What was that one
I know
that
what
didn't
you're
have
talking
Snake
about.
in it? I
Um,
remember we were working together, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to get home to play this game, blah blah
it's
blah
that
blah.
zombie version game. I
Yes,
already forgot what
and
it's called.
it was so bad,
It was
so bad.
it was so
Hmm.
bad that even the developers were like, "We miss Kojima." In their own game, like, "F you to the company. You messed up by letting go of the best guy in your division."
And still try to
Yeah.
continue his series. Why would they do that? That's so
That's
absolutely silly.
I don't know
Oh my
if
god.
there's a there's a big rabbit hole that you could go through where what was the last one that was made? Metal Gear Solid 5, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Where there's a mission where you're going in and Snake is deleting the old games, saying that it doesn't exist anymore because he's not in the company no more. And you go around and there's like
That's great.
spray painted like Metal Gear Solid 1, and he's over there and he just like wipes it off and he goes, "All right, Snake, that's one." And then you go and you do the rest, and he's like, he would feel better with this way. And it's like, what the hell? Like, they really went all out. Like, thanks a lot, Konami. You really messed up.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, it's Metal Gear Survive.
Yes, there we go.
It was horrible. Oh, it's so bad. The worst shoot, man, probably Konami game ever.
Yeah,
Good job, Konami.
I was gonna
But
say Konami would have been good with all these other games that would have came out, like PT and the Guillermo del Toro other games that he had planned to do with Konami.
they I mean, I hate to, talk about Kojima like this, but they got rid of their cash cow, dude.
Yes.
They got rid of him.
I
At
mean,
least, yeah. Go
like
ahead.
the biggest thing was Sony gave him a whole production, right? They built
Yeah.
him a whole studio in,
Yeah.
I believe it was Japan.
And
Yeah,
I mean, he's
and they're
got
all
more
over
stuff
him.
going on. Yeah, he's
They-
doing good work.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, you let this gem go." They
Mhm.
were like, "Come here, let
Oh,
me
yeah.
polish you, let me spoil you." Like, pay. Sony knows how to
They
do
do.
that, and that's why they
Yes.
get those great games. And they're always
right.
like, hey, take your time.
Hmm.
You
Yeah, the
make
way
it the game that it should be for the fans
Yeah.
instead of just trying to rush it out and get it done by a specific date.
the way
Yeah,
they
yeah,
announced him too was all hyped up. I don't know if you ever saw the announcement where
yeah.
even the CEO of Sony learned
Yeah,
Japanese to like announce him on stage. Like they were
exactly.
like high
It
honor.
Right
was,
on.
Like this guy
Yeah.
like is the guy.
you
Yeah.
know, and they're just
Yes.
like, as it should be, because he's
Yes.
fantastic.
He is.
We're gonna get some great stuff out of
I
that.
was gonna say I
Being,
think his next game that he's making is gonna be with who is that? Their director. He did one with Guillermo del Toro, of course. But the
Mhm.
Yeah.
guy who does Glorious Bastards and Pulp
Oh,
Fiction. Who
shit.
is that?
I
Quentin
can't remember the
Tarantino.
name.
There we go.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
He's gonna make. He has a screenplay from him that he's gonna make into a game, and
Oh my gosh.
Jordan Peele, like these.
Oh,
two
yeah,
big
I heard about
guys
that
he's
one.
Gonna do, and it's like, what is he doing now?
Yeah. He's
got-
he's wanting to make movies. I think he created a movie division in his studios.
Mm,
If I'm not
I think
mistaken,
so.
I read it.
Yeah,
I
you
read
got,
it
you
somewhere.
got a
It was a
guy
while
that's
ago.
good with psychological horror, psychological mind messing games.
yes.
And you got a director, Jordan Peele, that just messes with people in the movies, and then you got I already forgot his name.
Quentin Tarantino.
Quentin
Tarantino.
Tarantino that always comes up with these like messed up situations, right? In movies and games, it's like
Like he's got absolutely outrageous plot
Yes.
lines,
Oh, yeah.
and stuff like that. And I still
Yeah.
want to know what's in the freaking briefcase in Pulp Fiction. They're like, it's the soul. Well, show it to me. Prove it. Like, give me an official announcement.
It's funny how
Oh.
yeah, like Pulp Fiction has the over exaggerated briefcase.
That's true.
The Django Unchained had, I don't know if you ever guys saw that, but when
So
he's shooting
good.
anybody, it's like over exaggerated.
Exploding.
Yes.
They were
Yes.
basically cutting them in half, dude.
And then you
It's
got
like, holy
what
crap.
was it, the Hateful Eight, where it was just the
Oh.
guys in the room, and it was still the same concept where everybody hated each other, and
Yes.
it's that.
That was a rough one. That was hard for me to get through. But we do have some more comments real quick.
Okay.
Got to keep it fresh and interesting if you want people to buy it and play it. And
Sure.
yes, yep, that's why you add a little bit more that cherry on top for remakes. I totally understand. I get that. Lord Beers, thank you, Fox. We've got John DBZ. This is for Gamer Geek. What's your thoughts on a company focused on graphic and forgetting about gameplay? For example, Final Fantasy.
Well, as far as that goes, like graphics, I love them. I was in school for art, graphic design, all that other stuff. I want realistic. I want to be able to see that. I love how video gaming has evolved.
Mhm.
But if the gameplay mechanics aren't there and it's not an enjoyable experience, those graphics don't mean anything to me. Like Resident Evil 5 for me, since that's one of the older ones that I played recently. Their gameplay mechanics just aren't as good as the other games, and it could be a really enjoyable game if it wasn't for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
So-
Right on.
adding to that with Resident Evil 5, I think they overdid it with Resident Evil 4 being the new, over the shoulder shooting. They thought that 5 would be better and then 6 would be the best, but I think
Yeah.
after 5 it started declining pretty bad, and that's when, like you were saying, graphics were there, it's just story, gameplay was just not there.
Yeah.
Right on.
So, like, and especially in a game like Final Fantasy, if it's hard for you to get your weapons or swing your sword or
Mhm.
climb and jump, it's the same thing with Forspoken. I was really excited for that game to come out, and
Oh,
I got a hold of the demo, and I was just like, how do I even climb? Like, it was extremely frustrating. They were like,
Yeah.
well, you see the commands, you see you can push this button, you can see you can do that, and none of it worked really. And it was just, like, okay, so I can walk up to somebody and beat the crap out of them, but the rest of the stuff that I need to do to clear this level, I can't do because the gameplay mechanics are awful.
Yeah.
But the graphics, fabulous.
What's
Yeah.
that other game that just came out as well? That vampire hunting game that came out a couple months ago.
Redfall.
Yes,
Probably,
where
yeah.
People were like saying it was gonna be like a good graphic shooter game, and then when it came out, it was like, damn, this
Yeah.
does not look like what they were talking about.
They were like, you computer animated that gameplay. This isn't real at all.
Right on. All right, let's we got more comments. That's a really great question. I think it was referring to John DBZ. Yes, that was a great question. John DBZ, casual, you can look at the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yes, as far as adding more stuff to it, it looks really good. I actually need to get through Final Fantasy 16, but I need to, and then I'll tackle the remake Final Fantasy 7 because it does look really good.
It really does.
We have another one from Lord Beers. Konami had a hit.
Which hit are you referring to?
I think he might have. Oh, are we?
I think he's talking about Kojima.
Right on. Or he could be talking about Metal Gear Survive.
Don't even.
And just being funny. He could be.
He does have quite a sense of humor, so sometimes he does that sarcasm, and you're just like.
Right on. Another one from Lord Beers, Castlevania, but they abandoned it. Yes. Oh yeah.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. Then another one from Lord Beers. Konami was one of the gaming godfathers in the 80s and 90s. Then poof, they turned their back on their loyal fan base. They don't seem to care. Kojima is their number one cash cow. 100%.
You know what's crazy?
Yep.
Speaking about Kojima, I went to a convention, a GameStop convention. And
Okay.
this was before they announced that Kojima was beefing with Konami. They had a raffle that I didn't go for. I was like, oh man, it's just, Metal Gear Solid 5. It was signed by Kojima. I should have put my name in that raffle.
Wow.
Shame on you, Panda.
True
For
story.
shame.
You should have just put on a mask.
Right.
Grabbed it and run as fast as you could.
The way they gave it out was whoever rose their hand first and went up on stage. And I was front row, and I was like, it's Metal Gear Solid 5. I already have it.
Bro.
What are you doing, dude?
I didn't know that they were beefing by that. And then that same week, they're like, Kojima left. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah. You're like, missed opportunity.
Yes.
The only game signed by the only developer that cared about the game.
Yeah.
All right, we've got another one. What's in the box? Oh yeah,
Freaking
that was
briefcase, man.
I want to say 7.
Yeah, 7 with Brad Pitt.
Yeah, and
at
more.
the end. What's in the box?
Morris Chestnut, but it's what's his name? The old guy.
Morgan Freeman.
Freeman. There you go. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's in the box?
Yeah. I scream that constantly just because I can. Every time we get a package, I'm all, what's in the box?
Great. Lord Beers again. That's a reference to the movie 7 with Brad Pitt. LOL. Yes. Yes.
Okay, there we go. Look at you explaining yourself, Lord Beers.
No. We got there eventually. And then we got Mills in Somerset. I don't even know what that's in reference to. I have no idea.
I'm drawing a blank too.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Got one. Here.
Of course, I didn't sleep last night, so.
And you got up early, right? Or
yes.
No, you went late. So
I stayed up really late and got up really
I was
early.
still talking about 7.
yes, it's the names
okay.
of the
okay.
the names of the characters.
Oh
detectives.
yeah. No, I don't care about the characters. I'm just like, Brad Pitt looked pretty and screamed "What's in the box?" and his girlfriend's head was in there.
My favorite iteration of Brad Pitt is Troy with the long hair.
He did amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
Like I made my daughter sit down and watch it with me one day. She's like, I don't want to, and I'm like, no, you're watching this. This is like the best movie you'll ever see. And then after that, she was like, can I borrow it? And I was like, got you.
There you go. Getting the kids into the really good movies. He got back to us. That's the detectives' names from 7. Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Yes.
A little late, but thanks, Lord Beers.
Well, I appreciate it. Mills in Somerset. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but I do know it's a really good one. All right, so we're gonna move on to our last story. And it's in reference to Xbox again, and how the FTC is coming after them again for letting go people at the 1,900 workers at Microsoft.
Yes. They're very mad about that.
They are.
Xbox is saying that there were already planned um, layoffs before the merger, but
Yep.
that wasn't disclosed
Right.
during the FTC trial. They're also saying that basically the merger has created redundant jobs, so they're
Mhm.
laying off all these people
Mhm.
that are in the same position and giving them to the other people, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And Microsoft swears up and down that if they reverse the acquisition, that Activision Blizzard will be able to stand alone. But how is that possible when either you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot as far as your developers, or you're gonna
Mhm.
shoot them in the foot as far as their developers?
Yeah,
So
Right.
now you got two different one developer working for two different
Mhm.
companies, right? You got them
exactly.
on Activision Blizzard,
Mhm.
Microsoft. You got all the, and again, how we were talking before, they could have been laid off because they were contracted, tech workers, but they should still disclose that. You can't just be like, oh yeah, we let them go because that's the plan, but in
Yeah.
the long run, it still looks bad for the company. And,
Oh,
it
baby,
just
you're not
doesn't
wearing
look
pants.
good
You
no matter
can't
what.
come up here.
It really does,
Trinity?
because you can do that 2-year contract and be like, at the end of this 2 years, we have the chance to review and either terminate you or renew your contract. And that could have been something, like you said, that was going on. But they didn't disclose it during the merger. They didn't do a
Mhm.
press release about it before the merger was finalized, which I think has really hurt them. And it's also causing a lot of trust issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now you got to think
Mhm.
about it. They're gonna have to get all these contracted workers again to speak on trial. To like,
Mhm.
yeah, we were contracted through Microsoft to work for certain years and then get laid off. But
Yeah.
you think Microsoft is really gonna put all that time and money to try to find all these people again and try to get them into, file case with
Mhm.
Microsoft against the FTC? But I mean,
Yeah, I know.
you're thinking about
Yeah.
a company that just let go, let's just say $1 million worth of workforce, and now
Mhm.
spending that same amount just to get them back to.
Exactly. Well, I think
Yeah.
it was
Mhm.
Activision Blizzard's employees that were actually the ones being laid off, and
Mhm.
then like Bob for Toys, they closed it completely,
Oof.
and
Yeah.
you're just like, well, I guess Crash Bandicoot's dead now, which
Yeah.
is unfortunate because that's like
Yeah.
the Mario of Sony.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's just like, it's just not a good look. If Activision was planning on doing all these layoffs, you would think that a $70 billion merger
Mhm.
would have saved the jobs instead of
Mhm.
taking them away.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe that
That-
was the whole reason why Activision didn't let go of Call of Duty from Sony. Maybe they knew they
Mhm.
were going to lose a lot of money and they just
Mhm.
left it on that platform.
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe.
Because that's just more money for them. You know. Yeah.
You got to think about it. These developers are going to have to port everything back to Xbox and delete all the files from Sony, right? You can't.
Mm.
You'll keep whatever's left on Sony and then have everything back on Xbox. And you need the force on that, right? You need a full-time development team to try to
Mhm.
get rid of all the Sony assets from that game and just go Xbox and PC exclusive. But now you don't have the workforce to do it, so you might as well just
Mhm.
extend the contract on PlayStation, leave Call
Mhm.
of Duty as a first exclusive, because that's what they do. It's just all Sony gets is just 2 weeks in advance. So
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense, but then again, that's them shooting themselves in the foot, right? Because now the FTC is like, oh, why didn't you just take that game back? Why'd you leave it on Sony? Is there a reason why? Is it because you
Mhm.
didn't have that workforce? Is it because it was all planned?
Yeah. And
Right on.
in the trial, they also made all these promises
Mhm.
about how, well, for one, it would help Xbox win the console war.
Mhm.
For two, it would create more jobs. Three,
Yeah.
they were gonna bring more business about because they were gonna put Call of Duty on the Nintendo Switch, which I don't see them being able to do very well. Just because, and I love Nintendo. I have
Mhm.
Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation here at the
Mhm.
house. So I don't want to offend any fans, but I've got all three, and the gamer PCs.
Yeah.
But
Hilarious.
like they're promising Call of Duty on these platforms, and then one
Mhm.
of their excuses was, like you said, PlayStation got the exclusivity for the 10 years. Well, I'm sorry, 2 weeks in the grand scheme of things isn't very much to wait for a game. So
Yeah. And yeah, that's the thing is,
Huh?
I believe they extended that
don't know.
contract
What
as
do you
well.
mean
I don't
by-
think it's a 10-year contract anymore. I think it's more now because I want to say the contract
Okay.
started during
Okay.
PlayStation 3, so that was maybe
give
years
Okay.
ago.
me
So it's pretty close to being
another
like
maybe
done
30
with.
minutes.
So
yeah,
during this,
I
Real
go
30.
ahead.
I
Okay.
was gonna say I don't know if they extended it or not, but I knew that the original agreement was 10 years.
Yeah, and that's what I remember as well. And I remember that was one of the biggest things they brought up in the court was, are you gonna just pay out the contract and take it or leave it? And they said they were just gonna leave it, but they didn't say for how long more. So
Mhm.
True.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the article. That was my wife just now, so got to speed this along. Apparently.
Everybody misses you.
Yeah. Okay. Update: FTC files complaint against Microsoft over recent Xbox layoffs, and this is coming courtesy of game developer by Justin Carter. All right, so in a statement to game developer, Microsoft condemned FTC for ignoring the reality that the deal itself has substantially changed. Um, the Xbox maker argued it was required last year by the UK CMA to restructure its deals. It also points to its Call of Duty and cloud related agreements as further proof of its evolution. In a separate letter, it said the FTC was unable to prove Microsoft has both the ability and incentive to make Call of Duty Xbox exclusive. The FTC is unable to articulate any harm from the Finnish merger, it added, and has incomplete and misleading assertions. The layoffs at Activision Blizzard were already going to happen, said Microsoft, merger or no. And if a divestiture was ordered, Activision Blizzard is operating in a way that it continue to be a robust market participant. And that's to your point, Panda, that you made. However, Microsoft noted this with some skepticism, saying it would be an unlikely event to happen. Right on. So, right now it's just a complaint. I mean, we'll definitely keep an eye on this the as it develops, but I would like to see I would like to see what the FTC has that will aid them in their argument, because one of the things that really has FTC at a disadvantage is how hard they went after Microsoft from the beginning. You know, so to me, when I look at this, it just looks like they're they're trying to hang on
Nitpicking.
to a sliver. Yeah, they found a sliver of red meat, and they're going to try to take that to the finish line.
Yeah.
So if they would have approached this from a very calm position from the beginning, I wouldn't be so skeptical of their intentions when they go after Microsoft for this. So right now, I'm just looking at the story and just following along with whatever gets revealed, but I don't really have a comment on that.
I think the only way that the FTC would be able to do anything about this merger, especially as far as reversing it, is if employee stuff was covered in the merger itself
Right.
before
There
they
you go.
decided it. Like, I know that there's a lot of like sometimes when companies buy each other out, they'll have like an employee clause, like you have to keep these individuals or you have to keep all of the employees and just absorb them into your company for X amount of years unless
Yeah.
this or this. Obviously, if they're not good people and they're stealing money or they're not doing their job, obviously you can fire them.
Yeah.
But I think unless the FTC specifically covered that during this whole trial acquisition thing, I don't think they have a leg to stand on.
Right on. What's the Panda?
So what I was thinking was what you were saying with the Nintendo Switch deal is they signed their 10-year deal with Nintendo in February and they haven't done anything about it.
Yeah.
So that's
and before the merger was even done.
Yeah, that's a big red flag because they're saying that the PlayStation contract ends this year. So it would make sense that they're already making a new one. So the new one is for Nintendo. So I'm assuming it's not going to be for the Switch. It's going to be for the Switch 2 for sure.
Yeah.
I would think so, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't wait to get my hands on that one. I'm
So-
excited.
But that's the thing is, again, with all these contracts they're making and then all these layoffs, it's like, are they going to be able to? I mean, it's a contract now, right? They can't back out. So
Right.
it's either
Yeah.
they get it done or it's going to be the equivalent of Black Ops 1 when it came out on the Wii. It wasn't so great because they were rushed to produce this game to be a multi-platform game. So
Yeah, you don't want another MK1 debacle. That was
So-
horrible.
So bad.
So that's the fear right there, right? Is they're signing all these contracts, but are they going to be able to deliver it on them? So,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, because like with Mortal Kombat 11, it actually looked really great on the Switch.
Right.
It was darker, and obviously the graphics are better on PlayStation 5 because I have both versions. But I was really surprised when MK1 came out with how bad it was, and I'm more like Fortnite runs great on it.
Yeah.
You know, so I know fighting games and online multiplayer games can run on Switch. It's going to be those graphics that are going to be the concern because people want to be able to take Call of Duty on the go, and that's the whole purpose of it. But I'm just worried because, like y'all were saying, they signed all these contracts before. They've done nothing with it. There haven't even been announcements for it.
Yeah.
So
The last thing that we're talking about was February 22nd, 2023. So that was a year ago
yeah.
that they were talking about this contract, and nothing has been done yet. So the contract was signed in February 2023. So either
Correct.
they're working with Nintendo right now to release like a standalone edition for the Switch 2, or they're up to their knees in these lawsuits that are going on. So
Yeah, and the layoffs and all the bad press and everything.
Oh man. Not Microsoft's week.
yeah, it's
Not their
looking-
week.
It's not looking too good. It's
No.
No.
it's the whole, again, what we're talking about. They want the quantity of all these divisions of games, and yet it's not looking out when they should have just stuck to polishing up one game or two games a year and releasing them when they need to.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah. We'll have to
Uncle
wait
got-
till next week to see what Phil has to say about all this.
Yes. I wish we could break these things. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, Phil's getting on. We're going to him live or whatever.
I know. I wish we
But
could do that too.
can't because, day jobs and all that good stuff.
Well,
One
that's
last,
the bad
yeah.
part too, is we don't have E3 anymore, and E3 was the biggest, where we could find what's going on with these, Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. But now, now that E3's gone, you have PlayStation Direct, you have what's Xbox do, the showroom, and then Nintendo. I think it's Nintendo Direct, my bad, and then Sony Showcase. But
Yeah.
that's the thing, is it's the month. I think it's March or May is when E3 used to happen. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting next month to hear Sony showroom and Nintendo Direct again, and with Xbox coming up. But the thing is, what are they gonna announce? I haven't heard any like new games, new consoles, new nothing.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of quiet out there, and who knows? So maybe somebody's gonna surprise us with something that nobody's expecting, right? So
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I think everybody was disappointed with State of Play when
Yes.
PlayStation did it earlier this month.
Yeah.
I mean, I did enjoy the sneak peeks. I did enjoy the games and stuff like that. I just felt like it was lacking, and especially like with Death Stranding, they're just like maybe 2025, but it was all right. But like if Silent Hill 2, they gave no indication. They didn't say 2024. They didn't say 2025. They just said nothing.
Yeah.
And so everybody was upset, and then they were like, but don't worry, we're coming back in 2 days to talk to you about Final Fantasy.
Oh my gosh.
And so, but I get what you're saying. I think that, Nintendo can do their Nintendo Direct. I don't know what Xbox does. And the state of play and everything.
Mhm.
But I think there should still be one where they all kind of come together and talk about what they're going to do with the industry as a whole, because
Yeah.
you can be a competitor and still work together.
Yes, right.
And that's
Yeah.
what we haven't really been seeing.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what Xbox is probably trying to do with
Yeah.
the rumors that are going on.
Mhm.
And I think that it could be revolutionary if
Yeah.
they do it right.
It will change the gaming industry
Mhm.
for better or for worse. It's going to upend it, and it's going to change forever.
Yes.
So I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Just whether it's a train wreck that you just can't look away from, or it
Yeah.
absolutely changed it in a good way. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens after this.
Yeah. It'd be great to get another change like when the PlayStation 1 came out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So.
We got a couple more comments really quickly, and then we'll get off of here. I don't want to get yelled at. So from Lord Beers, he says, "You're welcome, Miss Geek." And then last one, that cat persuaded Geek to pick it up.
I wasn't persuaded. I was pushed out of the way. And then he jumped up on my lap. So
That's a good one.
the cats run this joint. They just let me live here and pay for
Lord
everything.
Bears with another comment. He said, "Excellent panel, everyone."
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lord Bears. That's awesome. For anyone who wants to get in contact with Gamer Geek or Large Region Panda, we have a ticker down at the bottom. You can find them at their various socials, and they will be also in the description. So don't worry, once the video goes off, you can also get into the description and find them there. Before we take off, anyone have any last words about here, hold on real quick. Lord Beers, she steals my thunder. But any last last comments on what we talked about today?
I forgot that Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater was one of those showroom games that was announced in PlayStation.
Mhm.
So,
Oh yeah, they're calling it Delta.
Yep, another remake, remaster, and so we'll see. I mean, just let the guy just alone, man. It was his game. Quit it already. Oh, who knows? Maybe it's Sony exclusive through Kojima. You know what I mean? Who knows?
No, it's a cross-platform, because whenever Xbox did their showcase, they had it on their showcase too.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's going to be cross-platform.
Kojima is not exclusive to Sony. He's branched out between both platforms. So that's
and I think
probably,
even Konami is a second party or third party developer.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably.
I don't think they are owned by Sony.
Yeah, I think that was Sony's best decision was to let Kojima do whatever he wants, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he can do whatever. He doesn't
Let
have
him-
anyone.
let
to
him
tell
be free.
what to do. Oh yeah, that's all he wanted from the beginning too. I'm sure.
And he's gonna put out great stuff because of it.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He already had really great stuff. Like
Yes.
I really loved at the showcase or at the state of play when they were just like, he's here, he's doing this work. We're just whenever you're ready, we're here. And I was just like, yeah, that's right.
Hands
Bow
up.
down to him.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Freaking we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. It's always so much fun. I mean, having people on is fun, but having someone as sharp and as, like great opinions as you guys do, hands down, best live streams I've ever had. Hands down.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Panda brings a lot to the table too.
Oh yeah, he does. He does.
Sometimes.
Especially the lulls.
Except you got rid of the mustache. So.
I know. I had to switch it up. I had to shave.
He did get the
But
top
we got
hat.
the top hat.
Top
Yes.
hat.
There we go.
Yes, there we go.
Right on. Right on. Oh,
All right,
my
everybody.
goodness.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you for having us, Casual.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure, and we will talk offline, just even for a little bit, and I will, freaking tell you how much I appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate that.
Well, thanks for having us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
right on.
It was fun for sure.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone who joined in. Really appreciate it. Lord Beerus, especially John DBZ. You guys always show up, and it is always awesome to have you. If you wanted to leave a like, subscribe is the best thing you do for the channel, and we really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel further, we do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. It's also on the side there, which is very new. You can toss a couple bucks. It helps us get to where we can do this full time. And if you didn't want to do that, check out our Amazon affiliates link, also in the description. Buy yourself something, and Amazon kicks us back a few things, which we very much appreciate. So that's it for the live stream. Until the next time, keep it casual. Peace.